Congressman, this is Sunny. Switching gears to Iran, you're the Intel Committee chairman and a member of the Gang of Eight, the bipartisan group of leaders who are supposed to be briefed on classified intelligence matters by the executive branch. So you were in the room for the highly classified briefing on General Soleimani. President Trump now says he believes that Soleimani was planning to attack 4 embassies, including bombing the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. Did you hear any intelligence to support that claim?
No, I didn't hear reporting that 4 embassies were targeted and here's what we think and when we think it's going to happen. It really was much more like something the secretary said and then tried to walk back. Secretary Pompeo acknowledged the other day, we didn't know precisely where, we didn't know precisely when. That directly, of course, contradicts the idea the president is putting out there that we knew 4 specific embassies were targeted. Look, I don't think the evidence, the intelligence justifies the targeted killing of a loathsome and, yes, bloodthirsty person nonetheless, but justify the targeted killing of Soleimani if it was going to increase the risk to Americans. And the missile attacks that Iran took as a result of that strike could have killed dozens of our service members. And thank God that didn't happen. But the risk, I think, to our personnel has gone up, not down. And I don't think it was justified by the intelligence, at least not the intelligence that I've seen.
Okay, right.
And the Ukrainians, that Ukrainian plane would still be alive.
That's the people on that plane would still be alive today. So Trump didn't notify the so-called Gang of Eight because before he took out Soleimani, but he did tell Lindsey Graham on the golf course. Now, he claims that he didn't share the news with you or Nancy because you'd leak it to the media. Your reaction, sir?
Well, you know, it's embarrassing for a president to behave the way this one does and say half the things that he does. The fact that the fact that the only person in Congress apparently who was briefed on this was Lindsey Graham, either on the golf course or at the buffet line, tells you all you need to know about how seriously this president takes his responsibility to consult with Congress. I'm glad we passed a resolution in Congress to reassert Congress's role in the war-making process. We came perilously close to an all-out war with Iran over the last week. Congress needs to exercise the authority it's given by the Constitution to declare war or refuse to authorize war. And here, I think, where you have an impulsive president, where you have a president, I think, with little regard for the long-term consequences of his actions, it's all the more important that there be some constraint, and that constraint Congress gives to the Constitution gives to Congress.
He also doesn't seem to know what he's doing. He doesn't seem to have a grasp of foreign affairs, as far as I can tell.
He knows enough to be touting the fact that he thinks he's done this amazing strike and that you know that he knows best. But again, that airplane full of people, I think, would contradict that. You know.
Well, and Whoopi, if you look at the long-term record of the Trump administration on Iran, this campaign of maximum pressure has resulted in Iran going back to enriching uranium, going back to potentially having enough enriched uranium for a bomb. Iran that is taking missile strikes on U.S. Bases or bases that we share with the Iraqis. An Iran that has now a dominant influence in places like Lebanon and Syria. This maximum pressure campaign has maximally failed. It has made the danger to Americans that much greater, and it has not constrained Iran. So the track record is not encouraging. And to come this close to a war that Americans don't want and Congress hasn't authorized, shows you just how dangerous this strategy has been.
Well, I hope that you all take as seriously as we do when you issue things like subpoenas. You know, maybe we don't know because we're not sitting with you, but sometimes it does seem like y'all are taking an awful long time to make everyone recognize that we all have to pay attention to a subpoena. Because if I could go over to my boss and say, do I have to do this subpoena? My boss would kick me square in the behind and I'd have to go deal with the subpoena. I want y'all to take this as seriously as the American people do. What?
I was going to say, can he answer that?
Yeah, why didn't
Well, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
And look, this president has been impeached over his refusal to allow witnesses to testify, over his orders that witnesses obstruct the Congress. We do take this very seriously.